Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're the show that really tries to cut through all the noise and get you the insights that matter.
Yeah, straight to the heart of it.
And today, we are diving deep, really deep, into the world of Chris Kyle. You probably know him as the American Sniper.
That's right.
His autobiography, same name, American Sniper. It's just this incredibly raw, first-person account. It takes you from his Texas roots right through his time as, well, the most lethal sniper in U.S. military history.
It really is. And our main source today is Kyle's own words, which gives you this, unparalleled view into his life, his motivations, what he faced.
But it's not just him, is it?
No, and this is crucial. We also get insights from his wife, Taya, right there in the book, and her perspective. It's this vital counterpoint. It really opens a window into the human cost, the emotional side of things for the families.
So our mission today is basically to unpack all of that.
Yeah.
We'll look at the key parts of his journey, sure, but also really get into the emotional, the psychological stuff. What does it do to someone to be a warrior like that?
And we'll touch on his perspective, too, his, let's say, geopolitical view of things in Iraq as he saw them. It's definitely unfiltered.
Yeah, expect a raw look. He's a complex figure, no doubt about it. Okay, let's unpack this. Before Chris Kyle became the SEAL, he was, well, a Texas cowboy. Like, really a cowboy. What was that early life like? How did that shape him?
Well, it's fascinating because that cowboy philosophy, it wasn't just, a backdrop. It was deeply ingrained. It really forged the sense of self-reliance in him.
Like a practical, get-it-done attitude.
Exactly. A very direct approach to solving problems, a belief in action. And you see that play out later, right? It becomes foundational to him as a SEAL.
He mentions his dad's advice somewhere in there.
Yeah, do what you want in life. It's not worth it if you're not happy.
That stuck with him. His dad worked for Southwestern Bell, then AT&T, moved around a lot for promotions.
Right.
But Chris saw his dad stressed, unhappy with the corporate bureaucracy.
Oh, okay. So that pushed him away from that kind of life. Absolutely. It gave him this resistance to anything that felt fake or bureaucratic, anything that wasn't, quote, real work. Whether real meant breaking horses or later fighting in Iraq.
Which explains why he found boot camp kind of lame.
Yeah, lame compared to ranch work, he said.
Yeah.
But BUDS, combat, that was different. That was honest, direct, clear objectives. That clicked with him.
So he wasn't just playing cowboy. He lived it.
Oh, yeah. Raised all over Texas, like you said. Always moving. But the core thing was the rodeo. By 16, he was deep into it.
Bull riding first.
Started with bull riding, yeah.
Yeah.
Said it was tough, the bull spin, loose skin, unpredictable. Then he moved to Saddle Bronx and actually did pretty well, earned some money.
Wow.
It was his whole scene, the travel, the partying, the riding, kind of a precursor to the SEAL team camaraderie in a way. He even did a bit of college at Tarleton State, big ag school.
Kept him tied to that whole world.
For sure.
But the rodeo didn't last forever. There was a pretty bad injury, right? That kind of changed things.
Yeah, a really severe one. Broke his arm, needed pins put in surgically. That ended the riding, obviously, but it also initially disqualified him from the military altogether.
Oh, wow. So it almost stopped that whole path before it started.
Almost. He even joked about trying to signal a turn in his truck on a date and feeling one of the pins snap.
Yeah.
Grim humor,
Yeah.
So he quit college, almost graduated, but not quite, and went back to ranching. Worked for a guy named David Landrum in Hood County. He called it heaven.
Just hard, simple work.
Exactly. Learning the whole ranching business, training cutting horses, which is a specialized skill. He loved it. It was tangible, real, totally unlike a desk job. You can see the appeal, especially after seeing his dad.
So he's disqualified, finds this heaven on the ranch. But the military still had this pull, didn't it? What sparked that initial interest, and how did he eventually get back in, despite the pins?
Well, that's the really interesting part, isn't it? What makes someone, after a serious injury, after being told no, push that hard to join the most elite units? It points to this, deep-seated need for action, for a specific kind of challenge that even hard ranch work couldn't quite scratch.
He had a family history in the military, too, right?
Yeah. His grandfather was an Army Air Force pilot. That was an influence. And Kyle himself said he wanted real action. He actually liked the idea of fighting.
So he started looking around Marines, Army.
Considered Marines, then Marine Recon, looked at Army Special Forces, SF, but he didn't like the rank requirement, E5, I think it was, felt it would slow him down.
Always impatient for the action.
Seems like it. A recruiter suggested Rangers jumping out of planes, small arms expert that sounded enticing.
But not SEALs yet.
Not yet. It was actually a Navy recruiter, almost as an afterthought, who mentioned the SEALs. Kyle said they were pretty unknown back then, which just sparked his curiosity more.
Speed?
Right. But then, the arm pins. The Navy disqualified him. He offered to sign waivers, anything. They said no. He thought, okay, military career is over.
So he committed to ranching.
Yeah, focused on that, took on more responsibility, and then, out of the blue, the call.
The Navy called back.
Unexpectedly. Said they wanted to reevaluate his arm. Just like that, the door cracked open again. It feels almost like destiny, pushing him towards this path.
Incredible persistence. Okay, so he gets the green light, but SEAL training. BUDS, that's a whole other level of challenge. How did he describe going through that crucible?
Well, BUDS, basic underwater demolition SEAL training. It's less about physical strength, though that's huge, and more about breaking you down mentally.
Rebuilding you.
Exactly. Rebuilding you with this insane mental toughness, teamwork focus. His journey started Fed 99, boot camp first, which, like we said, coming from the ranch, he found it lame.
Got fat and out of shape, he said. Seems counterintuitive.
Yeah, but it shows his starting point was already pretty high physically. It's worth noting they have prep programs now, intense conditioning before BUDS, which wasn't quite the same then.
Okay, so BUDS itself, over half a year dropout rate like 90%. That's insane.
It is. And he wasn't a natural swimmer, coming from Texas, far from the water, had to really work on it, learn the side stroke, all that.
Then INDOC.
INDOT first, yeah. Indoctrination. He called it BUDS with training wheels. Gives you a taste, ramps it up. But after INDOC, that's when the real ass-kicking started. He literally thought, holy shit, these guys are going to kill me.
So what got him through? Pure stubbornness.
A lot of it, yeah. He said it was being stubborn and refusing to give in, more mental than anything else, and Hell Week cemented that.
5.5 days.
Yeah.
Constant. It's just punishment.
Continuous beatdown. Yeah. Minimal sleep, maximum physical and mental stress. And get this, he had a pre-existing foot injury from a fall.
Oh, man.
He hit it. Knew if they found out they'd send him back, make him repeat. He just wouldn't allow that.
That's intense dedication. Or maybe desperation.
Both, probably. His motivation was fierce. He thought about everyone who said he'd fail. He wouldn't give them the satisfaction.
And the alternative.
Yeah.
Ending up on a regular ship.
That was a huge motivator, too. Anything but that. He totally agreed with the instructors. Hell Week is 90% mental.
Mm-hmm.
And he realized in combat, quitting isn't just failing, it's lethal. If you quit, you die, and some of your boys die. That really forged the bond.
Did he make it through clean?
Almost. He got rolled back, assigned to a later class because he perforated an eardrum during dive training. Big setback. But crucially, he didn't have to repeat Hell Week.
Small mercy. And what about the hazing? Any standout stories?
Oh, yeah. Part of the culture. He tells this one story. He deliberately spit tobacco juice near an instructor, knew it would provoke him.
Why would he do that?
Testing boundaries, showing grit. Anyway, the instructor worked him physically for hours, just grinding him down. But Kyle refused to puke, just wouldn't give in.
And
Turns out the instructor was a dipper, too. He was impressed by Kyle's toughness. A weird kind of respect born from shared, stubbornness, I guess.
shows that unyielding spirit.
Definitely. He finally graduated with Class 233. Only about 24 left from a class that started with hundreds. He'd made it. Proved his mettle.
Okay, so he's gone through this insane transformation, becomes a SEAL. But amidst all that, life happens. He finds love. And his wife, Taya, her perspective is so important here, right? Giving us the human side.
Absolutely vital. This is where we really start seeing the human behind the warrior.
Yeah.
They met in a bar, typical story maybe, San Diego, April 2001. He'd just joined Team 3.
What was his first impression?
He was immediately struck by her, said she was beautiful, wearing black leather pants. He specifically remembered that detail.
And her impression of him? A bit different, I gather.
Yeah, quite different. Taya was apparently at a really low point, feeling let down, actually praying for just a nice guy. And then Chris walks in with a friend.
And she wasn't impressed.
Not initially. She was incredibly blunt with him, told him flat out she thought he was arrogant, self-centered, and glory-seeking.
Wow. Straight to the point.
And she added she would never marry a SEAL. Can you imagine? Talk about an opening line.
How did he even respond to that? I'd be speechless.
He seemed genuinely confused by it, almost innocent. He argued back, saying his willingness to die for his country was the opposite of self-centered. It was idealistic, patriotic.
And that worked?
Apparently, that sincerity, that unwavering belief, it started to win her over. As they got closer, she saw other sides of him.
Like what?
She said he was extremely observant of her feelings, which maybe surprises people, Really caring, gave her space. She even called him sensitive.
Sensitive. Chris Kyle.
Yeah, he was apparently shocked when she said it, but she insisted it was true. It definitely adds another layer to the typical image, doesn't it? A more complex person under the surface.
For sure. But this love story, it's happening right as the world is about to change drastically.
Yeah.
September 11th. How did that hit him? How did it impact them?
Oh, massively. For so many in the military, 9/11 wasn't just a tragedy, it was this galvanizing moment, a call to arms.
He was with Taya when it happened.
Yeah, they woke up to the news, watched the second plane hit live on TV, just horrified disbelief.
His reaction.
Pure, raw anger. He just yelled, "Motherfuckers!" A mix of fury, confusion, but also this sudden, sharp clarity about his purpose, his mission.
It instantly shifted everything for him.
Everything. All the training, the preparation, suddenly it wasn't theoretical anymore. It was real. It was immediate. Combat readiness became the only focus.
So the unit's whole training plan changed overnight.
Completely. They'd actually just finished this intense internal competition within the team. His platoon came in second, vying for deployment to Afghanistan. He was personally bummed about losing.
Then 9/11 happened.
And boom, Afghanistan was still relevant, but the focus pivoted hard and fast. Desert warfare, urban combat. They started training specifically for Iraq. That single event just accelerated everything, pointed him directly towards the fight.
Before the big invasion of Iraq, though, he was already involved in operations, right? Not just ground combat. What kind of missions?
Right, it shows the variety of what SEALs actually do.
Yeah.
Early on, being the new guy, he got all the grunt work, the shit jobs, as he called it. Standard stuff, yeah. Constant tests. Being the designated driver while everyone else partied, couldn't drink to SEAL standards he gripped. He even got put through a mock trial, a kangaroo court, just for saying he wanted to be a sniper eventually.
Had to earn his stripes.
Totally. You had to pay your dues.
And his personal life took a back seat immediately. The honeymoon story.
Yeah, famously short. Just 3 days, then boom, deployment. You can imagine how Taya felt about that. Huge source of tension early on.
What was that first deployment like?
Maritime stuff, mostly. Boarding Iranian tankers in the Persian Gulf, enforcing UN sanctions, looking for smuggled oil, dates, that kind of thing.
Working with other countries' forces.
Yeah, he mentions working with the Polish GROM, their special forces unit, very highly regarded. Doing ship takedowns together. Typical op involved launching RHIBs, the inflatable boats, from a floating base, hitting ships based on intel.
And there was that big missile interdiction, too.
Yeah, that was a major one. High stakes. A freighter off the coast of Africa, supposedly carrying cement from North Korea.
It wasn't cement.
Nope. Scud missiles. Big concern for the Bush administration, obviously. They were tracking it, tasked the SEALs to board it. Kyle's platoon actually sort of stole the mission from another unit in Djibouti, caused a bit of friction.
How'd they do the boarding?
They used the RHIBs, not helicopters, deliberate choice. There were wires on the ship's deck, would have made a chopper landing risky, potentially tipped them off. So stealthy approach from the water. It really highlighted that covert, high-stakes side of things early on.
Meanwhile, Taya's back home, just waiting, worrying.
Yeah, and her anxiety is such a crucial part of the story he tells. He'd casually mention minor helicopter accidents, trying to downplay things.
Trying to prepare her, maybe?
Maybe, but then one morning she sees news footage, a Special Forces helicopter crash, and her immediate thought is, he's dead.
Oh, God.
Total terror. That was the breaking point. She just vowed to stop watching the news, couldn't handle the constant fear. It's a powerful reminder of that unseen cost, the toll on the families.
Okay, March 2003. Operation Iraqi Freedom begins. Chris Kyle's right there from the start.
Yeah.
What was that like, hitting the ground? Any immediate surprises?
Oh, yeah. Surprises right away. It really shows you that gap between planning and reality in war, you know? The fog of war.
How so?
They flew into Kuwait, March 20th, 2003. Riding in DPVs, these desert patrol vehicles, inside Air Force Pavilo helicopters. Target was the Alpha oil refinery area. Critical infrastructure.
Sounds straightforward enough.
Except when they landed, the DPVs got completely bogged down.
Yeah.
Stuck fast in this thick, oily mud. Just about everyone's vehicle. Total mess.
Not what the intel said, I take it.
Not even close. Which led to Kyle's famous line about military intelligence is an oxymoron.
Can't blame him.
Right. Bad intel on the ground conditions. Bad intel about anti-aircraft weapons supposedly not being there. But despite the chaos, the air support was incredible.
Like pins?
Yeah, the Warthogs, 30 Gatling cannons. He just described them as awesome, watching them chew the hell out of the enemy.
So even with the problems, the combat itself, he was ready for it.
More than ready. He actually wrote about that moment, stuck DPVs and all, feeling this intense rush. Fuck, I thought to myself, this is great. I fucking love this. It's nerve-wracking and exciting, and I fucking love it.
Wow. That really captures something about his mindset, doesn't it?
It really does, that sort of visceral embrace of the fight.
Okay, let's move to Fallujah. This is where his legend really takes shape, right?
Yeah.
As a sniper, what were his experiences like there? It was notoriously brutal.
Brutal is understatement.
Yeah.
And yeah, his perspective here is fascinating. His view of the enemy, his role, it's all very clear, very defined in his mind.
When did he get there?
September 2004, transferred in to support the Marines during a big push, a major offensive.
Yeah.
He admitted feeling bad leaving Taya again. She was still recovering from having their child.
But duty called.
For him, yeah. Duty as a SEAL was more important in that moment. And Fallujah is where he had that first, very specific kill he describes.
The one involving the woman.
Right. The only non-male combatant he ever killed, he said.
Mm-hmm.
She came out with a grenade, moving towards Marines. He shot her.
His justification was pretty direct.
Very direct. It was my duty to shoot, and I don't regret it. The woman was already dead. I was just making sure she didn't take any Marines with her. He believed she was blinded by evil. No ambiguity for him.
And how did he view the insurgents generally in Fallujah?
Uncompromisingly. Savage, despicable evil. That's how he saw it. Fanatics, driven by a twisted interpretation of religion, often drugged up, he thought. His motivation in combat was just as stark. I wanted a target. I wanted to shoot someone.
He talks about setting up hides, the practical side.
Yeah, using whatever was available. Mentions using a baby crib and a door once to make a stable shooting platform. Shows the improvisation needed.
What weapon was he mostly using then?
Primarily the .300 Winchester Magnum. And he preferred aiming for center mass, the torso, rather than headshots. More reliable, bigger target, better stopping power in the chaos. Practicality over flashiness.
It wasn't all just shooting, though. He got injured there, too.
Yeah, took a hit from an RPG blast nearby. Didn't hit him directly, but the explosion collapsed a wall onto his legs. Caused long-term knee problems, needed surgery later.
And he saw some ugly stuff, behavior-wise.
He did. He talks about this one Marine, nicknamed Runaway, who basically deserted him under fire, just froze or fled. Kyle was livid.
What did he do?
He confronted him later, practically strangled him in front of an officer, he says, got them separated immediately, shows the absolute intolerance for that kind of failure in combat.
But also moments of connection. The Marine uniform story.
Yeah, a powerful counterpoint. After one fight, his own uniform was soaked in blood, just ruined. The Marines he was with gave him one of theirs to wear. He said it made him feel like truly a member of the team. Real brotherhood.
He had some strong words for critics back home, too, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Basically argued that people who criticize soldiers' actions from afar, without facing those life-or-death choices themselves, are incapable of empathy, a very common sentiment among combat vets. Understandable, given the pressure.
Did he ever get thanked? Did people know what he did?
Rarely, but he tells one story. At an oil change place, years later maybe, a father and son came up to him, emotional, said he'd saved their lives back in Fallujah. A rare moment of direct validation. Must have been incredibly powerful.
Okay, so Fallujah is intense. Then he moves to Ramadi, which was, if anything, even worse. The most dangerous city in Iraq.
Yeah, Ramadi in 2006, it definitely represented an escalation, both in the fighting and the psychological toll. A lot of the insurgents pushed out of Fallujah had regrouped there in El Anbar province.
How did he even get in there? Wasn't it unconventional?
Hilariously unconventional. He got medevaced into Ramadi, not out, with an Army Ranger buddy. They apparently used some kind of triage code scam to get flown into the hot zone instead of out.
Creative, right?
Only in the military. So what was Ramadi like?
Hotter, deadlier, more IEDs, constant firefights. He even described one area, surprisingly green and lush, east of the city, as Viet Ram, comparing it to the jungle fighting in Vietnam.
And his reputation grew there.
The devil of Ramadi.
Absolutely. The insurgents knew who he was, or at least what he was doing. They put a bounty on his head. He found wanted posters, which actually amused him because they used a picture of a different SEAL. Typical dark humor.
There was also that whole push to have an Iraqi face on the war around then. How did that work out on the ground?
According to Kyle, not great. Command wanted U.S. troops to make the Iraqi forces look like they were leading front and center. But he felt it was mostly for show, just optics.
The Jundis, he called them.
Yeah, the Iraqi soldiers or militia. Their skill and commitment varied wildly, he said. Usually the Americans would be at the front and back of a patrol column, Jundis in the middle.
He wasn't a fan of the strategy.
Not at all. called the whole idea bullshit. Thought it was dangerous, complicated things unnecessarily. A miracle it didn't fuck things up any worse. His view was clear. His job was killing, not teaching.
He mentions an example.
Yeah, a hostage rescue. SEALs did the heavy lifting, secured the hostages. Then, for the cameras, the Jundis were brought in to take the credit, while the SEALs just drifted into the background. Frustrating, but part of the deal sometimes.
But Ramadi, this is also where the personal cost, the loss, becomes incredibly real for him, losing teammates.
Yeah, this is where it hits hardest in the book. The bond with his team, these guys were his brothers, forged through BDS, forged through combat, and then tragedy.
Ryan Job.
Ryan Job, close friend, shot in the head during an operation. Kyle rushed to him, felt like he'd been shot himself, thought Ryan was dead instantly.
But he survived.
He survived, miraculously, but was permanently blinded. Kyle carried immense guilt over that, felt responsible for putting him in that position on that roof, a heavy, heavy burden.
And then Mark Lee.
Mark Lee, another teammate, known for being religious, led prayers, killed in an ambush. Another SEAL, Dauber, had to tell Kyle there was no hope. It was devastating. Mark was the first SEAL from their specific unit to die in 4 years of constant war.
How did he process that kind of loss? How did it affect him?
Profoundly. He wrote, "The memory of losing my 2 boys burns hot and deep. To me, it's as vivid as what is happening around me at this very moment." He called those the worst moments of my life as a SEAL. It's raw grief.
Kaya's perspective on this, attending funerals.
Heartbreaking. She described going to other SEAL funerals, always praying, thanking God it wasn't Chris, thanking God she wasn't the one in the front row. It's the constant fear spouses live with.
After losing Lee and Joe being wounded, their platoon was hit hard. Did they pull back?
Their numbers were cut basically in half. Command asked them, do you want to step back, regroup? Their answer, a unanimous, fuck yeah, we want to go out. Unbelievable resilience, duty, revenge maybe, brotherhood. They went back into the fight.
Incredible. Okay, let's shift slightly to the tools, the weapons, the tactics. He goes into a lot of detail. He shows the technical side, the thinking behind the legend.
Definitely. It's not just raw talent, it's training, gear, strategy. He actually gave up vacation time for sniper school. Learned stalking, which he said was the hardest part, almost failed it because he lacked patience.
Patience seems key for a sniper.
Crucial. Camouflage too, ghillie suits, hiding the glint off the scope and barrel. And the key test in stalking wasn't just the first shot, it was the second shot. Can you fire and remain hidden? Vital.
What about the rifles themselves? He used a few different ones.
Yeah, mainly 4 types. The MK-12, a 5.56 rifle. Super easy to handle, he said. Could even be modified for full auto sometimes, which shows you snipers might need suppressive fire too, not just single shots.
Versatility.
Exactly. Then the MK-11, 7.62 caliber, he liked that for patrols, urban stuff, more mobile, more stopping power than the 5.56.
And the 300 Win Mag?
That was his main workhorse. Most of my kills were with that. Shoots like a laser, he said, especially at long ranges, over 1,000 yards.
What about the big 50 cal?
The Barrett M82 or M107, huge range, obviously, but he actually didn't like them much. Preferred a different model, Accuracy International, that wasn't available. On his last tour, he used a .338 Lapua. Wished he'd had it sooner, though he noted the concussion firing it indoors was intense.
And his pistol. Didn't use the standard issue.
Nope. Carried his own personal pistol, wanted more knockdown power than the standard 9mm 6-hour P226 the teams issued. Always thinking about effectiveness.
Gear-wise, any specific things he relied on? Customizations.
High-end stuff, Night Force scopes, Leica rangefinders, adjustable cheek pieces on his rifles for consistent aim, GPS, obviously. Even specific boots, Merrill high tops.
Little things matter.
Huge difference. He customized too. Wore a bandolier on his wrist for quick reloads. Used a Rhodesian chest rig for his armor and pouches. Designed so he could easily reach ammo when lying prone.
And the helmet thing. He didn't always wear one.
Mostly wore a ball cap, actually. Platoon cap, or a New York Fire Department cap his dad gave him after 9/11. Said it was about looking cool, but also comfort. Helmets are heavy, awkward.
But needed for night vision.
Right. Wore the helmet then. A practical trade-off, I guess.
It sounds like a lot of it was instinct, too, that sniper's eye.
Yeah, he talks about learning to perceive things, not just see them. Subtle movements, things out of place. Always thinking, if I were trying to kill me, where would I set up? Putting himself in the enemy's shoes.
And the rules of engagement, ROEs, he found them restrictive.
Very. He stressed they were specific. Just seeing an Iraqi with a gun didn't mean you could shoot. Had to be a hostile intent, hostile act. He definitely felt constrained, thought he could have been more effective with looser rules. Common frustration in that environment.
Then there was the paperwork for every kill.
Ugh, yeah. The shooter's statement in Ramadi had to document everything in a notebook. Date, time, target description, weapon, distance, witnesses.
Must have felt absurd in the middle of a war zone.
He clearly thought so. Jokes about telling an officer his target was just a kid waving at me, just pure sarcasm out of frustration with the bureaucracy.
Okay, we've talked a lot about the battlefield, but this deep dive has to include the home front. The impact on his family, especially Taya. Her perspective is just gut-wrenching at times.
It really is. And her honesty is what makes it so powerful.
Yeah.
She doesn't sugarcoat the anger, the fear, the love, and yeah, eventually the resentment. It's all mixed up.
She said something like, I was angry he was leaving and terrified he wouldn't make it back.
I also loved him like crazy.
Yeah.
That quote just perfectly captures the impossible emotional state she was in constantly.
And when he came home,
Hmm.
he wasn't the same, was he?
Not at all. The war came home with him. She talks about him waking up, literally punching in his sleep, being incredibly jumpy. She had to learn to say his name before getting back into bed so she wouldn't startle him.
Those are clear signs of PTSD, even if maybe they didn't call it that then.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just his personal struggle. It infected their relationship, their home life.
She felt he prioritized the teams over her, over the family.
Explicitly. She said his job became more and more important to him with every deployment. She felt she wasn't the priority anymore, that the teams had become his first love, that she was just consumed by it all.
Which led to that ultimatum about re-enlisting.
Right, a huge turning point. She told him, look, I can't tell you not to re-enlist, but if you do re-enlist, then I will know exactly where we stand. It will change things.
And he re-enlisted anyway.
He did, which, for Taya, confirmed her worst fears. That being a SEAL at that specific point in time mattered more than being a husband, a father. Their relationship hit rock bottom, this deep pit, she called it. That's when they finally agreed to try marriage counseling.
It just underscores how combat changes people profoundly,
Mm.
physically and psychologically. What were the signs for Kyle, the cumulative toll?
Oh, the list is long, and it really resonates with what so many veterans go through. Physically, the chronic knee pain from that Fallujah blast needed surgery eventually. Broken toe, finger, ribs, back problems, ankle injuries.
Hearing loss, too.
Significant hearing loss, constant ringing, ears rang, he said. Neck injury. Vision problems, floaters. Decreased vision in his right eye, which is critical for a sniper. He joked he was a doctor's wet dream. Just battered.
And the psychological side sounds just as bad, if not worse.
Definitely more insidious. Dangerously high blood pressure. He blamed coffee and dip, but it was clearly more than that. Couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep properly, always feeling very jumpy like he was going to explode, reliving gunshots constantly when he tried to rest. Classic trauma symptoms.
So deciding to finally leave, that must have been agonizing for him, given his record, his identity.
Incredibly agonizing. Despite everything he'd done, he confessed feeling like he was ducking out on my boys, running away, thought he should be stronger. Part of him felt like a coward for leaving while the war was still going on.
That loyalty runs deep.
So deep, it's ingrained.
So what finally tipped the balance? Taya.
Taya made it crystal clear. The family needed a father. That forced him to confront the choice head on. Duty to country versus duty to family. He chose family, finally. But he admitted he wrestled with it constantly, wondered if it was right.
Because being a SEAL wasn't just a job.
It became who I was, he said. Leaving meant losing a core part of his identity. That's a huge struggle for many vets.
He also had that scare with the sleeping pills.
Yeah, a really scary incident. Prescribed something for the insomnia after deployment, took it, blacked out completely, and somehow drove to the base with zero memory of it. A terrifying accidental overdose showed just how much he was struggling to cope.
Okay, so he leaves the SEALs. What happens next? He doesn't just disappear. He starts Craft International, right? Finds a new mission.
Exactly. He needed purpose, and he found it, channeling those skills. He co-founded Craft International with Mark Spicer, a well-respected British Army sniper.
What was Craft's focus?
High-level, specialized training for military and law enforcement units. They saw a gap, specific skills that weren't being taught consistently or effectively enough elsewhere.
And the company logo, the Punisher skull.
Yeah, with a Crusader crosshair in the eye. That was a direct tribute to Ryan Job, his friend who's blinded. Kept that connection, that memory, central.
The slogan was pretty provocative, too. Violence does solve problems.
Despite what your mama told you. Yeah, very direct, very Kyle. It was actually a quote from Ryan Jobe himself, said after a successful sniper op against Somali pirates, captures that unapologetic, action-oriented ethos perfectly.
How did he adapt to family life being home full-time?
With the same intensity, it seems. Started teaching his son to shoot a BB gun at age 2. His theory was satisfy their curiosity safely, teach respect for firearms early.
And the famous line about his daughter dating.
Ha! Yeah. Joked that extensive firearms training will be mandatory before she could date, around the time she turns 30. Classic Kyle humor, but underlying it is that belief in self-reliance, protection.
Beyond the business, he got heavily involved in supporting other veterans too.
Massively important to him. He started organizing these retreats, often on ranches like the Barefoot Ranch, for wounded service members.
What was the idea behind those?
Hunting, shooting, yes, but mostly camaraderie. A space to heal with people who understood. He insisted on treating them as equals heroes, not with pity or sickly sweet sympathy. He believed in hand-ups, not handouts. Very practical, empowering approach.
Informed by his own struggles, no doubt.
Absolutely. His political views tied into this too. Believed America had to take care of its vets first, before helping, as he put it, slackers and moochers. Felt veterans signed a blank check with their lives and deserved unwavering support. It became his new form of service.
So as we wrap this up, his final reflections in the book, they're powerful, sometimes uncomfortable. What did he leave us with? How did he see his service looking back?
Yeah, they are challenging. It's an unvarnished look into that warrior psyche. He's very clear. War changes you. He said, you embrace death. As a SEAL, you go to the dark side. You're immersed in it.
Coping mechanisms like dark humor.
Essential, he argued. The psyche builds defenses to handle the horror. But despite all the cost, the scars, he stated, flat out, I don't regret any of it. I'd do it again.
And his justification for the killing remained absolute.
Utterly. Everyone I shot was evil. I had good cause on every shot. They all deserved to die. His justification was protecting his comrades, eliminating threats. No moral ambiguity in his telling.
But the pain of loss was still there.
Oh, absolutely. That conviction didn't erase the grief. He still felt the loss, the ache for my failure to protect his buddies, losing friends, seeing children die. Those were the worst moments.
Did war change his perspective on everyday life?
Profoundly. Made him almost indifferent to small, everyday stresses back home. Because, as he said, there are bigger and worse things. Put everything in a stark perspective.
What about Taya? Did they find a way back to each other after he left the teams?
That's maybe the most hopeful part of his reflection. He said he rediscovered a real love for her after getting out, realized he needed to be a fuller man for his family, truly present in a way combat wouldn't allow.
Taya saw that change too.
Yeah, her words really echo that. She noted that before he left, his words and actions just were no longer meshing. There was this disconnect. Leaving allowed that rift to start healing.
But he still struggled with leaving the fight behind.
Always. Even with the new purpose, the family focus, he still wrestled with feeling like a coward for leaving while the war went on. It shows just how deep that SEAL identity went. It was him. Untangling that is incredibly hard. Hashtag outro.
So Chris Kyle's book, it really is this raw, unfiltered look into the life of a modern American warrior.
Yeah.
It takes you all the way from Texas rodeo dust to the absolute chaos of Fallujah, Ramadi, and then those quiet internal battles fought back home.
Yeah, it's a story of just unwavering conviction, profound loss, but also this relentless drive for purpose wherever he could find it.
His words, they give you this unique window, don't they? Into a world most of us can't even imagine. Shaped by his own strong beliefs, the brutal facts of war.
And his geopolitical outlook, how he saw the conflict, the human cost to him, to Taya. It's a powerful narrative. Challenging, for sure, but it reveals so much about heroism, trauma, identity, all forged in the crucible of war.
So as you think about Chris Kyle's journey after hearing all this, maybe consider this. You know, we live in a world where stories like this often get sanitized, filtered, simplified. What responsibility do we have maybe to really engage with these unfiltered, deeply personal accounts, even when they challenge how we think about war, about duty, about right and wrong? Something to chew on.